You're on the Six Strings Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, and exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back in. We have got a great program coming up here next. Justice for All. Well, this is the second program that Stephanie is doing. Stephanie is a former Jehovah's Witness, and she has much to say about the perversion, sexual perversion that takes place in the Watchtower. She has an awful lot to say about it. So we're going to bring Stephanie on right now. Let's do that. Hello, Stephanie.
Hi, Rick. Thanks for having me on again tonight. I appreciate the space you provide for me.
Well, you're very welcome. We're glad to have you here. You have a very important message to share with people, and we're glad to have you part of our network, Stephanie. And I'm getting so many people calling me, and can you give me Steffi's email and telephone number? You don't mind if I do that, right?
I don't mind. In fact, I was pleasantly surprised. A phone call from Australia the other day that you put her and I in touch. So thank you.
Wasn't that nice? Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, well, we're all moving forward. We're making a difference. We see the Watchtower kind of in free fall here, but that's good. But it's people like yourself, myself, and all the people you've been hearing on the program earlier, that we're all working together as a team to put these bums out of business. They're hurting too many people. Well, excellent. So what I'll do is I'll cut you loose. But I'm here if you need me, Steph, okay?
All right. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate it. My husband did send an email with a couple pictures I was going to want to put up a little later. I'll let you know.
Okay. Yep. Good. Thank you.
Thank you. So if any of you are still tuned in from earlier, I kind of wanted to finish the conversation a little bit with what Dan and Angela were talking about, because this is the space that I was hoping that we could put differences aside, whether it's political, spiritual, whatever differences we all have. I was hoping we could use this space to put that aside and figure out a way to collectively work towards our common goal in a productive manner, right? But Dan and Angela, Dan had said something about falling in love with your story. And we can get stuck in the past. And, the thing that I learned about forgiveness is forgiveness brings real joy of life. And I think one of the problems that we have is that we came out of the cult and we're still looking for that hive mind in our community. We kind of expect that everyone thinks and feels the same way we do, or has the same perception of the cult that we came out of. There's some in the community that want Watchtower to completely go away, and there's others that would prefer, like Jesus did. He didn't burn the temple down. He went in and he turned the tables over. So whatever that reckoning looks like for each of us, it's going to be different, but justice for all, which is the campaign that I'm trying to, that we're working on. Justice for all is just that it's a common goal, but the goal is individual. Just like our human rights, we're all individual, and our First Amendment right, the right to freedom of religion is the same of that freedom of thought with the human rights movement. And it's the same, within our community of activists and advocates, is that we are all different. But we do need to be our own hero and do our own healing. And in doing our own healing, we end up healing the world around us. So anyways, I'm hoping that this space can be used for that. I wanted to talk a little bit today about something that happened to us. My husband and I went back to the Kingdom Hall, if you can believe that. We went to the Kingdom Hall today for no other reason than for the love of another survivor. Shannon Simon Dinger, one of my very best friends. I know I mention her quite often. Her father-in-law passed away, and he was still an active Jehovah's Witness, so the funeral was at the Kingdom Hall. And so Brian and I haven't been to the Kingdom Hall. Last time him and I went was in 2018 for a few meetings. But previous to that, I've been out for 30 years and Brian's been out for 40 years. I was really taken aback when I walked into the Kingdom Hall and there's a brother standing here staring up at a screen as if, the football game's playing, because he did not take his eyes off of that screen. So I turned and I looked to see what it is, and here it's security cameras. They're watching, maybe some of you already know this is going on at Kingdom Halls, but they have the security cameras, all around the perimeter of the building so they can watch everything. And he's, watching the cameras. And of course, I couldn't let that moment pass by. So I said to him, wow, is it really that dangerous to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses? And he says, well, we've had some problems with vandalism, not here, but at some other Kingdom Halls. And so at the suggestion of our, circuit overseer organization, I can't remember exactly what he said, we installed the security cameras. And of course, I had some smart aleck remark back to him that, of course, you're protecting your property. You protect property just like you protect pedophiles. And I let him know that I found it very obnoxious that they were more concerned about their property than their little people. So that was really fun today, going to the Kingdom Hall. But I don't have it on my shirt anymore, but I had Brian and I wearing our little flag pins, because I've turned, I've had my spiritual awakening, but I've also had my civic awakening. Our little flag pins that we wear on our shirt. Made sure to wear those at the Kingdom Hall today. How do you like that? Because to me, the flag represents justice for all, which is the complete opposite of what the Kingdom Hall was and is injustice for all, which is the complete opposite of what our flag salute says is justice for all. So anyways, I found that very interesting. I did give you some pictures, Rick. If you could put up the slide that shows all the little people on there. Yeah, so this is important. This is important because the white stick figure represents the pedophile, and each child predator on average abuses 70 victims. So when you think about that, that's what this space in this podcast is really, really for. It's for us to find, I'm that first little girl in my story. I'm victim number one, but where's the rest of those children? So our community, although we're large and we're scattered all over the world and all over the country, right? I'm hoping that collectively coming together here with the aid of the investigators that I have, what's the word you always tell me? I didn't hire them. And I enlisted. I used the generic term, said the investigators I hired. He's like, you didn't hire them, you enlisted them. I'm like, yeah. So the investigators, people have been asking, what's this database or whatever? So what we're trying to do is, I'm like with my story, bringing my story out, I'm trying to connect however many of these other child victims that I can to my perpetrator. I had several rapists while I was a Jehovah's Witness. My main perpetrator's name is Richard Neil Groh. He's originally from the Corey, Pennsylvania congregation. He's now in Alamogordo, New Mexico. So if anyone is listening and you recognize that name to be a predator of yours, I encourage you to come forward. So this space is going to be used for us to call out our predators and to hopefully encourage other people to come forward to know that you're not alone. Unfortunately, you're not alone, whether it's in the organizational handling of the situation, or if it's in the stark reality of the statistics that you are not alone. Your perpetrator more than likely has harmed nearly 100 other children. So that's why our single voices are so important. But it's also important that we come together and organize in a fashion that hate and hostility, is left at the door, and that we can come together collectively with our own thoughts and collectively with our own, what's the word I'm looking for? Objectives, our own objectives to produce a campaign, or to have a campaign that's actually productive, that works towards real cultural change, like legislative initiatives and governmental investigations. And we have a real opportunity to do that, working with these investigators and then the attorneys that are also helping us to file these cases. So I had a couple people I wanted to talk to briefly. Thomas, if you're there, do you want to call in? And Donald, if you're listening, I wanted to talk a little bit about
I'm here.
Hi, Donald. How are you?
This is Donald. I'm here.
Yeah, Donald. So I wanted to introduce you to everybody listening. Donald and I met on the first podcast that we had 2 weeks ago. He wrote a book and compared the Watchtower regime to that of North Korea, which is, we all know is very dictator communist state, which I think we agree with him. But his writing is absolutely beautiful. So Donald is going to be helping us to advocate, find our advocate voice. If you want to talk a little bit about that, Donald, and what we kind of agreed we'd use you for.
Yeah, what she's trying to do here is we're trying to get the clergy penitent privileges changed, because this law really needs to be changed. Here in Texas, where I'm at, I've noticed that here in our state we do have to report, but it's not in all states. So what I would like to see happen is this turn into some sort of a federal law where every state, every religion, every group, anybody must report child sex abuse cases, but not just child sex abuse, but any abuse of that type, any sex abuse that goes on with anybody, that it should all be mandatorily reported and not hidden under certain privileges. I'm not against pastors or anything like that. I go to church, but we need to make these religions not be exempt from that, because if you think about child sex abuse, it's a crime. And why are we allowing certain people to not report the crime when it's a crime? I mean, basically you're allowing them to be an accessory to the crime just by hiding it. And by them hiding it, that's how Watchtower gets away with swapping these guys around from Kingdom Hall to Kingdom Hall. Well, we'll just move you to another Kingdom Hall. Well, that way we'll hide you under all these people, and they don't know that you're coming, and they won't know that you're a child molester, but we'll let you go to this other Kingdom Hall and stuff like that. So, they don't even inform people. So I would like to see where that's changed, because these guys, when they are caught at that, and when they do pay for their crime, they do have to register as a sex offender. So I think also in that case, if they must register, then they must, the churches or the organizations that they belong to must and should be mandatory. They should be made responsible to let their members know that this person is in their midst, that they are a child molester, and that they are in their midst. That way they know who that person is. Not to make them look bad, but to let them know that, hey, this person did this kind of thing. Be careful when you're around them. But unfortunately, nobody does that. So the Kingdom Halls, you go in there, you don't know if that elder is a child molester or not because nobody tells anybody. So, yeah, these laws need to be fixed. This is the United States, and we are a law-abiding nation. And as a law-abiding nation, we need to that's why a lot of foreigners come here, because they know they can commit crimes and get away with that. In other countries, if you commit crimes, you get some stuff happen to you. So we need to make our laws a little stiffer. We need to do things to protect our children, to keep them away from these predators. And so far, they've done pretty good on certain things, but there's other things they can do, especially when it comes to religions, is making these religions, or making it mandatory that even clergy have to report child sex abuse cases to the authorities, or any sex abuse cases to the authorities, because once you don't allow that, that causes these organizations like Watchtower to just push these guys under the rug and let them go about their business and misuse, rape other people or do whatever. So we need to put all this stuff to an end. We need to stop this stuff where it hit. We need to nip it in the bud, so to speak. We need to get it taken care of, because that's a crime, and we should not be allowing people to not report it just because of that, simply because it is a crime, and it's a crime in every state. So it never has made sense to me why certain states say you don't have to report it, other states say you do. I think it needs to be a federal law. I think it needs to be made federal so that every state must report that.
Yeah, that's the goal, is to get to the federal level. And I, kind of working with the team behind the scenes, we've kind of put a plan of attack, if you will. So Donald, he's a phenomenal writer. So he's going to help us to make like sample letters that we can use to write to state legislators, federal level legislators, and even Donald Trump, because our best bet really is the President of the United States to write an executive order, who happens to be right now Donald J. Trump. We were trying this also with the Biden administration with no luck. So we're hoping to have better luck with this administration. So Donald, thank you. And I just wanted everyone just to know that you're going to be putting in a lot of hard work. And I want to say from everyone that we appreciate you.
I definitely will. And also to mention too, hopefully this stuff will help to get rid of that 2-witness rule thing.
Yes.
I studied with the witnesses back in the early 90s, so I wasn't in with them very long. So I didn't get totally indoctrinated. But over the years, as I've learned about the witnesses, I learned about the 2-witness rule. And even though that they misuse that rule, it's in the Bible, but it's not. They misuse that. You can't prove. There's no way a child molester is going to say, "Hey, come and watch me molest this kid." They're not going to have a witness with them watching it while they do it. In very rare situations, maybe, and extremely rare. And what I mean by that, I did hear of a case that wasn't a child; it was a woman, actually, that the rapist recorded her rape, and she had it played at the Kingdom Hall. The elders played it, made her listen to it over and over.
I remember her case. Yeah, absolutely hard. Absolutely.
Made to listen to it, and that was humiliating. But that tape was a witness, even though it wasn't a person. But it was a witness to it. But I think they still disfellowshipped her. I don't know. Maybe they didn't. I think they did.
Yeah, I don't remember all the details.
It was more,
Well, thank you, Donald, for coming on tonight. We'll have you come on again another time. I do have.
and I'll be more than happy to help you with what you need.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to let the community know what you're going to be doing for us, and we'll end up talking more about that as we get things moving here. I do have Rick probably soon in the backstage, a survivor and advocate, an author and adventure seeker. Her name is Sarah Schoolcraft. I found her online. She wrote a book. If we could put up her book, that's the second picture that I sent to you, Rick, or the first picture I sent to you, excuse me. And then when she's, yeah, there we are, Beyond the Watchtower, a memoir. So when she's ready, you can just go ahead and link.
I don't see her on here, Steph. I don't see her
Okay.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she'll be on in a little bit.
All
But
right,
in the meantime, I did introduce Donald. What we're hoping to do is kind of have a writing team, if you will, and then we're looking to have each state have like a captain in the state where they'll serve as the advocate for the survivors that are coming forward, because we have hundreds, and if not at least 1,000 survivors that are going to be coming forward with their lawsuits against Watchtower. So we need to have some type of support network in place for them. For instance, like today was a funeral of one of the survivors that I've been her advocate for many years. So of course we went and we attended the funeral with her. If she has court or anything like that, she always invites me to go. And then the other thing that I'd want, like the state captains to be in charge of, support for the court, or whatever the survivors need in their state, helping with media requests, lining media up for any of the survivors that might let's get attention to what our cause is, right? And then also to head up legislation reform in their state and on a national level, which we're all going to do together collectively. It sounds scarier than it is. And we do have some volunteers like Thomas in Kansas. I'll have him come on probably next podcast because this one's running a little bit long. We have Will in Virginia, and then he's commissioned another couple in, I can't remember their names, I apologize, that will be helping us in that state. So we have a lot of organizing to get done, but I think we're coming up with a pretty good plan for it. So, and is Sarah available yet?
I don't see her on there yet, Steph. Did you want? I can, if you want to call her, I can kind of fill in for a couple of minutes while you do it. It's up to you.
Yeah, I'm going to send her the link again. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what we have to do. What Stephanie's doing right now is sending a guest a link, and she'll send it through the email to the guest, and the guest hits the link, and then they'll be able to come backstage on our platform. Then we'll bring them on stage and be with Stephanie. So we'll have her do that. And sometimes it just takes a little bit. Sometimes they might not get it, or they might not click it. So that does happen, but we'll get our guest on here very shortly.
So while we're still waiting for Sarah to come on, I do have a big favor to ask of the community, anyone that's listening. What the investigators are needing right now from us as a community is we need to find additional attorneys that can handle the cases against Watchtower. We're getting a huge influx of people, which is amazing, that so many people are taking advantage of the redress. But what I'm hoping is that we can find cases that have already been tried against Watchtower, find out who the attorneys are. I know we've paid a lot of attention to, like, let's say Candace Conti. We know her name, but who's her attorney? What's his contact information? And then if people could report any findings back to me, and then I can get them to the investigation team That way we can start contacting some of these attorneys that have already dealt with Watchtower. They're going to be ahead of the game, if you will. They'll need less training, because we're going to need a lot more attorneys than what we already have working with us.
We're going to bring Sarah on. She might just be on audio. I'm not sure. Sarah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I think, I think Sarah's talking through the telephone line. Are you on the telephone line, Sarah?
No,
Are
I'm
you?
on the audio, or I'm on the video, but my service here in West Virginia is not very good tonight.
All right. Well, we can hear you really good. I'll bring the volume up on my end here, but we hear you really good, Sarah. So that's
Okay.
fine. So I'll cut you loose here with Stephanie. Yep.
Thank
Thank
you. Can we show her book again?
Yes, I can. Yeah. One
Thank you.
second. It's just, here's the book right here. Yeah.
Oh, yay, look how pretty.
So pretty, yes. So, Sarah, I found you on Facebook
Yes, you did.
because of the book that you wrote. I'm always so inspired when people can find their words. Words are so important, aren't they?
They are so important. And I will tell you, writing that book was an amazing journey, a very scary journey. And I think the moment that I went to hit publish was the most exhilarating and scariest moment of my life.
Oh,
But it was so worth it. It really was. It's been an interesting journey. It really has. But I'm really happy to be here, and I'm just so honored to be able to speak out. Even though in the speaking out process, I really look up to you, Stephanie, for what you're doing, because finding our voice and talking about this is not always easy. Even when you put yourself out there like I have, I'm still trying to get in a position of being comfortable to speak out about these things, which is why I'm so happy to be part of this Justice for All campaign that you've created. Although I feel like it's really turning more into a movement, because this is creating and giving so many of us who grew up in silence a place to finally be heard. And I'll tell you, for years, I really thought I was the only one. I did not realize there were other people out there who went through similar things that I did, and even worse. And when I really started, digging in and looking into things, being part of Facebook groups and reading other people's experiences, it was liberating, but it was so sad to realize how many of us are out there.
Hey, Sarah, this is Rick Frank. Could you speak up a little louder?
Oh,
Come closer to the microphone.
can you hear me now?
That's a little better. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yep,
It's-
that's better.
It's good old West Virginia. Do you want me to repeat what I was saying before?
no, that's you're good. Just continue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
And we really appreciate your testimony and your giving your time tonight. Thank you.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. Like I said, this movement is just amazing. The fact that you're allowing us to have this space, and as I was talking about, realizing that there's so many of us out there that have experienced these things, it's liberating, but it's just so sad, and that's why we need a space and we need our there. I know growing up without freedom and being controlled, it was, that was hard. Not being able to partake in things, even education, saying the Pledge of Allegiance at school. This is how early they start with the conditioning.
Yes.
They want to shape all of your thoughts, how you view yourself. I remember being a teenager and being forced to sit in what I call the judgment room, which I'm sure everyone remembers.
Now the back room.
The back. Yeah, it was in the basement in the creepy Kingdom Hall that I went to. So it was even creepier because you had to go this dark basement into this room, which, I imagine now being, 14, 15, 16 years old and having to sit in front of these older men and you're being interrogated and you have to confess to these so-called wrongdoings that you had done.
About things that you don't even yet understand, right?
Right, things that I didn't even understand, or think was an issue, and
Right.
honestly, that were not their business. It's just sickening to think about the things that they asked me about myself.
Yeah,
And
like
how
the person came straight out of a Penthouse magazine, huh?
exactly, and
Mhm.
I think about it now, and that's what inspires me to really become a part of these things, because it's time for the world to realize what we went through and what they're doing to children, especially. And
Yes.
like you were saying, when our voices come together, it allows the world to see what's going on and something can be done about it.
Yes.
And and that's sad too, because my parents, they had their own issues, but my father didn't stand up for me. He didn't stop any of these interrogations.
Mhm.
And that impacts your trust as well as an adult, when you can't even trust your parents to protect you because they're being told by the elders this is what they're supposed to do. um,
I think these things are generational, not just the
they very much are.
escalation of the abuse.
Very much are.
With the escalation of the abuse also comes an escalation, or I don't know what the right words are, but a more
It's a cycle that continues to
resistance.
grow.
It's a resistance. I think they call it what, fifth generational warfare. After every
Yes.
5 generations, there's the big
Yes. And so many
flip.
people are fourth and fifth generation in this. It just it's so instilled, it becomes normal for everybody. And you
Yes.
don't question it because this is all you know. And you're not
Mm.
allowed to, be given any kind of freedom outside of that, which, is ultimately what led to my shunning at the age of 17.
So you were 17 when you were
I,
disfellowshipped?
I was 17. I was
Wow.
kicked out of home. And I was forced to live in the outside world, which thank God I was resilient at that point, because I was literally lost everything overnight.
So they kicked you out underage.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Make sure to mention that to the attorneys, because obviously that's
I
a
did.
huge thing. And then,
Yeah, I did.
yeah. So your story resonates a little bit with my brother's, and he ran away at 15, but same thing. You run away, you get kicked out. It's all the same. It's because of the same.
Right.
No mercy, no justice.
Well, and then you're just left to navigate everything on your own. Everything that you were taught was evil and bad and to stay away from, you're just stuck there. And you're trying to navigate these things that you're supposed to stay away from, but now you're a part of. But
So can I ask, what came for you first? Was it your spiritual awakening or more of a civic awakening? Like, did you realize that you could go to the authorities and that people would want to hear your story, that your experiences mattered? Or did you first have your spiritual awakening before you realized that your voice had value?
so for me, it was more of a spiritual awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Even with that, it was a very long journey. Spiritually, emotionally, physically. It just these issues manifest in so many ways. Um, but I think that's part of deciding not to be a victim. You want to be a survivor, and in that, I eventually started to look into my constitutional rights, my civic rights.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad. I had never stopped to read the Constitution. I didn't even know what my rights were. I didn't even realize they were being taken away from me.
Right.
And when I read that I had freedom of religion, like I had the right as an American to choose what I wanted to practice or not practice. Like I had freedom of speech. It was such an epiphany, but it made me angrier too. I'm like, they actually literally took my rights away from me,
And they're getting away with it.
and they're getting away with it. And I always perceived myself as just an ex Jehovah's Witness. I never stopped to think that I was an American. And
There
now,
you go. What a awakening, right?
it was such an awakening. I still get chill bumps when I call myself an American
Yeah.
because it's such a new thought. I'm still kind of processing that. And you almost want to feel bad because of how deep the brainwashing, went. But I'm getting used to it. It's it's an amazing feeling. It really is.
Mhm. Well, it doesn't matter if which side you vote on. It, it, what happened in this last election, I live in Pennsylvania right now,
Right.
so Pennsylvania politics is, always on the fore of my mind. But the 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 right got the Amish involved. The Amish don't vote, just like the Jehovah's Witnesses. They don't vote typically, but because their livelihood was being so they're organic farmers. They don't
Right.
culture the milk or whatever they sell they have these little farmers markets where they sell their food, and they there was one big one that got shut down by the government, and they poured out all their milk and this and that. The thing of it is, until something affects you personally, you don't notice it.
Right.
So what I thought was amazing was that they finally were affected, and so they came forward, and their vote actually is what swung the Pennsylvania vote.
Wow.
I often have to think to myself, what would happen if the Jehovah's Witnesses woke up and realized that, I mean, from my research, New World Order, which is a genocidal plan of the globalists,
Right.
is one and the same as Watchtower's Paradise.
Right.
Not similar, exactly Watchtower's plan. And to wake up to that, it is a real nightmare, isn't it?
You can call it that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. But even in the failed system, we have rights. So that's our whole point in saying, even as a Jehovah's Witness, you still have the right to go to the authorities. Just because your religion says that you can't, you still have the right to the freedoms and the protections afforded to you by the nation in which that organization operates and gets tax status from, and they benefit from being in the United States.
Right.
But they're benefiting, their freedom does not give them the allowance to harm American citizens,
Not at all.
whether they're members of the organization or not. So even though the system of Watchtower is broken, we still have our government that you can petition if you're not completely controlled, right?
Right.
But now that we're out, and like you've had your spiritual and your civic awakening, so you're using your voice, at a level that can create real change, by your lawsuit, being a vocal advocate. I know we've talked. You're going to be advocating at the legislation level, your state,
Yes.
and our voices really do have a lot of power, and I'm just really thankful to have you with us on this journey.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Thank you.
I'm scared. I'm scared like hell, but I'm so excited.
Yeah, I think similarly to what happened with the Amish, all of a sudden Americans remembered that the Amish exist, because they just live this quiet, humble life, and in the hustle and bustle of our cities and towns and suburbans, we forget that the Amish exist.
Right.
And
even they're being affected. But like you said, when the Amish start to be affected, something's going on and it's not right.
exactly.
That's huge.
Right. When you can't just let a man, tend his own land and then something's really wrong, right?
Right.
But I think that as we awaken as former Jehovah's Witnesses, as we awaken past our spiritual awakening and into our collective civic awakening with this movement, because it's more than a campaign, it is a movement, and it's gaining global momentum. My investigators are already working on cases in other countries.
Wonderful.
So this is just going to be amazing. But I think we're about ready to remind the world that we existed
Yes.
right
That's
next door to them quietly.
all of our voices together so the world can see and understand.
Yes. All the quiet children that sat for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes.
All the quiet children that didn't eat the birthday cake
Yes.
and that would
It's
sit
time.
in the hallway during the parties. Here we come. Here we come.
It is definitely way past our time. But
It is way past our time.
hopefully, more people take advantage of this opportunity and don't take their freedoms for granted. Because I know growing up without them, what it was like to be silenced. I don't want anybody else to ever feel like that again. So that's why what you're doing is so important. If we use our voices, stand up, vote, go to legislation, and really join all this together, it's going to make an impact. They're going to have to notice us.
Yes. And did you know that no other institution by population size, okay, so relative to population size, no other institution has more so challenged our First Amendment right than have the Jehovah's Witnesses?
That doesn't surprise me.
Why do you think that is?
I think because they literally tried to have their own inner government where there's no justice, there's no, it's you're already guilty before convicted.
Right.
You don't get anybody on your side. You don't get a jury. It's their own little government, and that's how they want to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
And of
Yeah,
course,
I also think that's a really good point you make. I also think it's similar to imagine, America as being the oyster, and every time they, challenge the United States Constitution, it's like putting a little piece of sand inside the oyster shell.
exactly. They don't want people to challenge it.
No, and then eventually, that oyster makes a pearl that's worth a value, right?
Yes.
So what happens to the oyster? It gets shucked and killed.
Right.
Which is the plan for New World Order, is to destroy the governments. So yeah, I think it's very important that our voices are coming out now, and I also think it's very important that we use the momentum behind this, and it wasn't going to be able to happen without people like you trusting the process. So how did you hear about the process? How did it go? Like, what's it like? Maybe tell the audience so they know what to expect.
Which part of the process?
Well, you reached out to Max probably, right?
Oh, as far as the intake and everything?
Yeah. Like, how does that
go?
How scary is it?
It was actually amazing talking to Max. We probably talked for a good 45 minutes, and he was amazing, and the conversation and the understanding and the compassion, and you could tell that he was just so adamant and enthusiastic and ready to help take this down and be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was scared at first to tell a stranger my story,
Right.
but it wasn't. It was very liberating as well. So and as far as speaking with the lawyers and stuff, everybody's made me extremely comfortable.
Good.
So I encourage everyone to reach out. Definitely.
Yeah,
Use
me
your
too. Yeah, I'm not a religious person, but I guess you'd call me spiritual. But since I've met these particular men, all the different people working behind the scenes with Max, and I really, I almost feel like, if there were angels that came down from heaven
Right.
to do something, I mean, I just have to pinch myself the whole time because I mean, it just seems like everything I could ever have wanted for us, you, me, for this group of survivors, it just seems to just be falling
Oh,
into place.
because it's time.
It
It's
is. Yeah.
we've been through, enough, and it's time that we finally got relief,
Mm-hmm.
and
And
and it
go ahead.
and just being able to let go of everything.
Yes,
Finally,
it's time for us to thrive. And
yes.
and that's what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about. So what so you've gone through your spiritual awakening, your civic awakening, so you're using the power, the evilness that happened to you're shifting it to good.
Hmm.
How do you what do you do in your life that brings you to a place of peace, and now that you've let these things go, what do you do you know to heal, to keep yourself healed, and those around you?
Well, I think that's just an everyday job. Mentally, you just have to work on your thoughts, the things that you're taking in, and
Hmm.
just keep yourself mentally grounded. Of course, I am a very holistic person. I'm a holistic practitioner, a wellness coach. But I find that very rewarding too, because in my daily work, I'm talking and working with people of all walks of life and helping them through their trauma and their emotional or physical or spiritual issues, or whatever. And because, I went through those experiences, I have the compassion to be able to talk to people and help them as well. And that for me is truly rewarding, because I'm able to use my voice in a way that helps other people, just at least one person, if they sleep better at night. That makes it worth it to me.
Very nice. So what type of holistic healing do you do? Like therapy touch,
So I
herbals?
I do a lot of therapy touch, a lot of talk therapy. I incorporate massage therapy, energy work, um, a lot of different holistic practices.
Very
I've been doing
nice.
that for 25 years. It was actually kind of my calling. I think that's what really helped with my spiritual awakening after I got disfellowshipped. I just directly went into that. It was it happened. It all fell into place. So I think for me that was supposed to happen in my journey, so I could find that spiritual peace,
Hmm. I
which
think
led
that,
more
oh,
peace and where I'm at now.
right. You had said something earlier. I wanted to elaborate on a little bit. You said something about you had decided, and change. People say that change doesn't happen very easily,
Ooh,
but I actually kind of argue that a little bit, where it happens instantly
right,
because it happens in the brain.
right.
It's a decision that's made. And once you can align your mind with yourself,
Right.
all things are possible, and things really do just start to fall into place, like you were talking about with.
That's true, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And
Hmm.
see, you start seeing the smaller things, you start seeing the bigger things. And when
Yes.
you see the even bigger things, you really can't unsee it then. So, yes, I do agree with that.
Hmm. Yeah. Very nice. Well, thank you for coming on. We can find your book on Amazon. Are there any other ways that you like to be contacted by anybody if they want to?
If
Uh,
anybody has questions, I'm on Facebook. You can find me on there, message me. That's a great resource. I talk to a lot of different people through Messenger. So I'm always open for questions or just a listening ear, whatever's needed.
Okay, and then you're in West Virginia, so if
Yes.
there's anybody in the West listening from the West Virginia area, I was talking earlier about forming like state captains and teams, so that we can have a community, smaller communities helping each other out, because, there's going to be times that you might want support.
That
or
would be
just having
amazing.
people, helping you with pushing legislation and those sorts of things. So, yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Hey, hold on 1 second, Steph. I think we do have some callers that might want to say hello to Sarah. Would that be all right?
I think we're going to let Sarah go unless Sarah wants us. I mean, I guess I was going to let Sarah go if that's okay.
Okay, that's fine. Yep.
Hold on a second.
Thank you, Sarah.
Sarah.
Yes.
So I was just going to let you say your goodbyes now if you wanted.
Okay,
And,
that's fine. People have questions. I don't mind to answer a few questions.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you wanted. I didn't want to put you on the spot and make you take calls because I didn't realize the phone lines
I don't
were
know
open.
if I'll have the answer for the answers, but I'm willing to try.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't want to put you on the spot because I was like, oh dear, I forgot to say something about the phone lines.
Did someone want to speak up and say hello to Sarah? Go ahead, 315. You're on with us, 315. Go ahead. You're on with Sarah and Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie and Sarah. This is Joe and Fran. Hi. So glad to see this, Stephanie. Thank you for having Sarah on the program. And we did order her book. So we're looking forward to reading it. You're welcome. You're welcome. I just want to say that what you're doing, Stephanie, what the XJW community is doing, it's just so helpful, so healing. And I know Dan and Angela were on earlier, and that is just a small group of the XJWs that are fighting among themselves. And we don't want to lose our focus. We don't want to focus on that. We want to focus on the bigger picture, what you're doing, what Rick is doing. Sarah, we appreciate. And we have a program every Wednesday night. If Sarah would like to come on, we'd love to have her.
Yes.
But anyway, there's a great community out here of healing and helping people. And we just so much appreciate everyone. We love you guys. And thank you. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
409.
Sarah, this is Donald from Beaumont, Texas.
Well, hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Just sitting here listening to you guys. I don't know if you were on at the very beginning when I was introduced. So I just wanted to introduce myself to you. My name is Donald. I'm in Beaumont, Texas.
Okay.
And I'm a writer. I do write. And I wrote some stuff, on the Jehovah's Witnesses, and I sent it to Stephanie and so forth. But yeah, I'm going to be helping Stephanie with the child privileges stuff and all that. So I'm willing to help you guys with whatever you need.
Oh, that's amazing. The more of us, the better at this point.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Does anybody else want to talk to Sarah? Go ahead and call in.
Hey there, Sarah, this is Dan. Hey, I just wanted to say, all you guys are doing excellent. It's a wonderful thing to hear women that have gotten their voice, and it does take a lot.
Yes,
it was interesting when I left the Kingdom Hall, most of my spiritual teachers were women, and there was a reason, because we were taught women should have their hair covered and this and that. But, you women are leading a movement right now that could be as big as women voting.
Oh, yeah.
It's a privilege.
I love that.
Big. And you know what's beautiful is I'm watching right now, like TikTok. I saw a lady come on there, and she was really soft-spoken, and I would have never thought she was going to say I was part of sex trafficking.
Wow.
And I've got a lawsuit going. And I said, holy shit, this is spreading. Oh, my God, it's getting big. And like you guys said, it's becoming one voice. It's not, it starts as a small voice. It starts as a crackling voice. It starts as, hey, I want to tell you what happened. But as the collective comes in,
Yes.
and because there's truth and integrity behind it, God is behind the movement.
Yes.
And that's why it's becoming big, it's becoming authentic, and it is going to change the world. So keep up your good work, guys. And like Joe and Fran said, don't let these little communities take you down. They're smaller communities, but at the same time, there's people being abused in those communities. So it's deserved to be talked about. There's people that are being very abused. Like I said earlier, if you were one of the persons on that picture being pissed on earlier, you wouldn't, you would think twice about, So anyway, guys, keep up the good work. The movement's great. You guys are making a difference. Did you want to say anything, Angela? Angela wants to say a word too. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just really just rocking and showing the women, how it's done. Because the thing is that we've been shut down for so long, and then when we do share a little bit or our stories or say our piece or say anything that's important to us because it was wrong, then it's the habit of, like the community we came out of, to be told that you don't have a right to speak, and we don't want to hear what you have to say, and then you just feel so bad, or they gaslight you, or whatever goes on, that men don't like. A lot of the men from places we've come from in abusive religion kind of really don't like it when us women come forward, because they're not used to it.
That's why I got this fellowship.
Just by a little bit of words, that they
Right.
say, and you shut down, and then you won't speak again for who knows, maybe years before you tell it again, because you're so fearful that someone else will try to tell you that your story is not valid and it's not important and I don't believe it, or it's stupid, or whatever they might say. But we've got to speak anyway, and we got to speak up anyway, and just try to put those thoughts, those feelings that they're bringing out in us behind us, and say, no, I've got to say what I've got to say, and just be bold and be brave. And I have to do it still in my story. And my story is a crazy, crazy freaking story, and nobody wants to hear it, trust me. But I'm starting to come to grips with God, spending time with God, saying, what is it about my story that is found to be offensive or disturbing, that they attack me? And I'm having to really look at it, and then now I'm getting understanding. Now I'm ready to speak to that, and it's getting bigger because I'm willing to say, no, my story matters. My feelings matter. What happened matters. And not that I'm a victim, not at all, I'm not. But it's important that we bring it out so that everyone else can get free too, and not feel like, I don't know, that they're freaks or they're lesser than, and these feelings that we get from not being able to speak what happened. It's important. So I'm glad we're all going to get free, and I believe in wounded women rising up. I believe in it, and that's what we're doing. We're rising up. So that's it.
Amazing.
Thank you, Angela. I always love hearing from you. Yeah, and the reason why our voices are so important individually, each of us, is because we represent one of the 70 on that slide that I put up earlier. Each perpetrator, and it doesn't matter what the crime is against a child. We aren't only talking about child sexual abuse. We're talking about the other abuses too. So if you think about that, you're one of 70. If you think about one, like my abuser, Richard Grove, probably the average is 70 per perpetrator.
Well,
If
I
I
know
could,
my abuser ended up marrying and having children with another girl that he was abusing in another congregation at the same time. So they're married now with children.
isn't that amazing? I've heard more and more of those stories. Yeah.
It was so detrimental, but I'm just so thankful from what I was actually saved from and how bad it could have gotten. Oh, because I just have heard, stories of people that, didn't make it out as early. And I am so thankful for that in my story.
I think with us coming forward, it's going to create a mass exodus like in 1975 all over again, maybe bigger. And the world is ready to embrace us and to help us heal. The last program that was on before mine, we talked a lot about, things going on in the community. And, unfortunately, Watchtower, the way that it abuses us, it does create a lot of disturbances. But those disturbances, they really are in the mind. And that's why, awakening spiritually and combining it with the civic awakening, because that's where your power is. We have the spiritual insight, but then the power comes from the authority that they have put there for us to use in the Constitution. So I'm looking forward to doing this hard work with all of you. Sarah, thank you for coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
I look forward to, becoming sisters with you in the truest sense of it. And
not in the way they told us it had to be.
yes, exactly. Oh, here's my kitty cat wants to say hi. But thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. And she's in West Virginia, so if anybody from West Virginia wants to help in that area, reach out to me, and we'll kind of get the group going in West Virginia. So thank you so very much.
Yes, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you soon, Stephanie.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yep, this is where we'll say goodbye, and then I'm gonna end the show here and thank everyone for coming on and watching. I'm very grateful for this space, so thank you again, Rick. Does anyone have any last minute anything they wanted to ask me before I leave?
Well, I'm here, Willa.
Hi, Dallas.
I like to show Sarah that I was listening all around, and that you live in Pennsylvania, don't you?
I do live in Pennsylvania, yes.
Well, you know what? I'm native to Pennsylvania too.
Oh, you're native here, huh?
I am originally from Pennsylvania.
Oh my goodness, I did not know that, Dallas.
South Central.
Okay, well, I'm up on Lake Erie. Do you know where the big lake is?
I do, and I'm from where I'm from is the South Central York area of Pennsylvania, but in a rural area outside there.
Nice. Yeah, we're up on the Great Lake. I call it my ocean. It's not really an ocean, but I pretend. Nice to hear from you, Dallas.
I just had to say that I love that stand that you're taking, and that.
Thank you, Dallas.
You get a voice.
Well, we sure
do. Revolution, like the female being allowed to vote starting in the 20s.
Yeah, this revolution.
They were allowed a driver's license somewhere in Saudi. That's what it's like too.
It is, and this revolution is gonna rock the world, because the tentacles of the church, and when I say church, I mean the Catholic Church. Its tentacles are everywhere, even in the Watchtower. I won't get into that here tonight, but the influence of the Jesuits is strong and well in Watchtower, and it is one big beast that runs the world. So our collective voices together here in America and around the world, we're gonna rock them, aren't we, Dallas?
Right on my sister right there.
Yeah, well, we sure appreciate you, Dallas. Thank you for calling in.
Well, it's my honor to do so.
Yeah, well, pretty soon we'll have you help us out writing some letters to some congressmen, okay?
That'd be great, and there's different ways we can get a new start in life, so we don't get stalked by the cult. We can.
Yeah, we gotta all stand together so that doesn't happen anymore. Well, you have a good night, Dallas, and I'll see you next time I have a show, okay? Thank you, Rick, for letting us come on tonight.
And thank you, Rick, and love y'all.
Right. I think we got Dallas. I think we got one more caller on here. So we'll let that caller come in. I think it's 855. Did you want to say something, 855, to Stephanie? 855. I guess not. Sometimes people unmute themselves. But Stephanie, good show. Good show tonight. And thank you for bringing Sarah on. And you know, I sit here, and of course I see things going through the control panel here. But one thing I noticed tonight is your retention rate. Well, what I watch with the different programs we do here on the 6 screens, retention rate is very important, and it means a lot. So what I mean by that is people who came in the beginning of the program, they stayed for the whole program. Now that's an achievement. I mean, I see these things. You know, everyone can't see it, but I see it here because of the computers and all those platforms I have. And the other thing I noticed is you really increased in viewers as you went on. So that's a good sign as well. So I believe what you have here, just trying to put 2 and 2 together, Steph, is I believe you have a lot of people coming in. They're very curious about this. Many of them have been abused. And of course, it's very difficult for them to speak up. But I think as you continue on with your program, Justice for All, I think it'll kind of open the door. People will, you know, it's hard for people, as you well know, to speak up. That's a difficult thing. So, you know, we'll give them all time. And I think before you know it, you'll be a lot of people speaking up and talking to you and say, Stephanie, this happened to me as well. So I believe that's all going to happen, Steph. So good program. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate the availability you've given me. Thank
Well,
you.
you're very welcome. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Say hello to Brian too. Appreciate it. Yep. Bye now. Well, there you go. That's Stephanie Lynn Carson, Sister Willow. And well, thank you for coming in and being on the program tonight. Very good. That was a second program, but very pleased. We're very pleased to see the amount of viewers. We're very pleased to even see the amount of callers. Usually a program has to be on for, you know, 5 or 6, 7 programs before they get this type of action. So it looks good. It looks like we got a good program here, and Stephanie's doing a good job. Now listen, tomorrow, don't you guys go anywhere. We get into 6 Screens Sunday. Now we talk about something different. We get into theology. We don't get into it on Saturday night, but we get into it, but we're not going to be preaching in your face. We're not preachers, but you know, you have to talk theology if you're exposing the Watchtower. I mean, they hit every spiritual branch on the way down, and they never hit it right. They really flunked on all of their theology and their policies. So you come in tomorrow, beginning at 1:00. We have Scott Walton, and he's got a program tomorrow. Now, a very interesting subject. He's going to be talking tomorrow about AI, artificial intelligence. And there's some people in the community, in the religious community, that's saying AI might really be an evil thing. And even if they're not in the religious community, even people in the secular world are starting to really question what AI is going to do. Could it make a radical change for the better or for the worse? Scott Walton going to speak about that tomorrow. And then, of course, we have the Christian Court. We have JW World News coming up at 3:00 tomorrow. And, of course, Anne Marie will be back with her program as well. And that, of course, is people sharing their stories of being in the Watchtower. So be with us tomorrow. Jay Hess as well will answer your Bible questions. We'll have a full day of activity. So why don't you join us tomorrow right here on the 6 Screens Telenetwork. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. And we really do thank you for spending your night with us. And it's great to see the momentum picking up. It's great to see new callers coming in. So keep coming in. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much.